Hi guys, it's the old bull here. So today I'm talking about Dogs of War and the new NFT land sales that we're going to be doing in Dogs of War and how that's going to work. So bear with me, I'm going to just scroll through some ideas with you and we'll explain what the process is going to be and how it's going to end up. Okay, so this is the main map of the Dogs of War world. So currently you are on this island. This is called Resi Island, standing for Residential Island. So for those of you who don't know the story, the backstory of Dogs of War, these islands, there's actually four of them, including these ones over here. So like there's three main ones and these little ones. So that's what we call them, four islands. But the idea is that these islands have been kept off all maps in the world. So the American government, the Australian government, the New Zealand government agreed to hide these islands from the world, and all other governments in the world have agreed to not put them on maps. And they were used very quietly for biological experiments. And so there's all sorts of things on these islands that probably shouldn't be. Now, this bottom island was the residential island, so no experiments happened on these islands. There was no sort of like infrastructure here. There's no laboratories. There were no animal testing. This is just the island that the residents live on. And so the families of the scientists all lived on this island. And so as this island gets built out properly, these green areas will be villages, like suburbs, if you want to call them that. And then there's the military base here and the runway. And this is Cook City, the very first city named after Captain Cook, who discovered this whole area. When you spawn into Dogs of War, when the game is fully finished, you will spawn in along this edge here. So you will spawn somewhere here. You will not be able to cross the ocean here. There will be sharks and saltwater crocodiles. You do not want to go into the water and try and swim. You will be able to find a boat and get across there if you have a crafting skill and know how to craft a boat. That will be a short way across later on. But the first part here is just you spawn here and you move across this way, and then there will be a bridge from Cook. We're going to actually extend this piece of land here out to about here, and there'll be a bridge across from Cook. There's currently a bridge here. Actually, it might be here. There's currently a bridge here. We're going to stop. We're going to remove that bridge. That bridge won't be there, and there'll be a new bridge from Cook City across this way, and you'll come across into this new part here. And there'll be two smaller military bases here, and you can start to get good weapons and stuff as you move for. So this is basically, this bottom island is what we call section 1, and then this part here, this is sort of like section 2, this is section 3, and then section 4 is the top level gear where you'll be able to get all the good stuff. So that's the map, that's how the world is based. The game starts on 30-day cycles. So now one of the things we're building in Dogs of War is the ability to have servers. You'll be able to buy a server and run it yourself if you want, and sell tickets to play on your server each month. And all the pieces of the game will be able to be turned on or turned off. So you'll be able to adjust the night and day cycle. You'll be able to adjust how rainy it is or how sunny it is. So the servers I like to play on are almost always sunshine with a little bit of rain every now and then, whereas the game Daisy, it rains almost all the time, and I hate that. It's terrible. It doesn't feel good to be playing that game. So these islands were actually designed to be really sunny, but you could, if you wanted to, run the server with very rainy and stormy. So you could make it a very dark and hostile place. You'll be able to adjust the length of time that the server wipes. So on my server, when we build the first one, it'll be a 30-day cycle. So on day 1, there's going to be an auction. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Everyone starts on day 1 spawning along here. You'll have to move across the island, And the quicker you move up through these areas, and this is a big area, every one of these squares is 1 kilometre. So it's 25 kilometres across by 25 kilometres deep. All right, so it's a lot of area to cover. Anyway, this is a huge map. And if you've ever run from the left-hand side of this island to the right-hand side of this island, it's 20 kilometres, and it's a long island to run along. All right, so the idea is that the lands, we're going to allow people to buy NFT land in the island. And we're going to do this in an investor. You would be able to be an investor. I'm going to use the word investor, not financial advice, do your own financial research, blah, blah, blah. But we're setting up an investor level so you can speculate, is a good word, gamble on what is going to be valuable on this map. There's going to be a game design document that we'll release out to the world, and you'll be able to read that, and that will explain what has to happen. So, for example, bullets. Most games allow you just to find bullets all over the place, and you get lots, and you can buy them easily off the marketplace. We're not going to do that. You are going to be able to find a few bullets on the ground, but you will have to make bullets for your guild if you or buy them off the marketplace if you're a single player. And that means there will be you'll have to find things and sell them to raise money to buy bullets. If you want to be in PvP all the time, you're going to have to pay to be in PvP, in the sense that there'll be a cost to the bullets. It's just not going to be, you'll be unlimited firing all the time. And so I'm trying to build in the game what I call a third world economy. So the countries in the world where they don't work, they might earn $100 a month to survive. Those people could actually live out of this game. They'll be able to sell enough bullets and go and get all the elements you need to make gunpowder, and get the elements you need to make casings for the bullets, and then lead. You have to find lead. So, and then you have to take those elements to make those bullets. You're going to have to go to a chemist, and the chemist is going to make the gunpowder, and a blacksmith is going to make the shell casings. And so the blacksmith is going to have a license to make the casings, and he's going to need a machine to make those casings. And all these things have to be bought in NFTs. And when I say bought, everything in the game will be able to be found on the map as well. So there's actually a book that is circulating that's all in pieces on the map, and you've got to find the pages. And when you find the certain pages and the pieces of the pages, so some pages are in different pieces. So the machine that makes shell casings is going to be in like 10 pieces. So the NFT for that, and you're going to have to find all those 10 pieces and then mint it into an NFT, and then you have the ability then to make shell casings with that machine, and you'll be able to build that machine in the game. So right, so let's have a look at how. All right, so there's going to be tiered land plots. So there's going to be a land ownership title. All right, so only owners can put something there. So there'll be pieces of land that you actually have an NFT for, and only you are allowed to build on that piece of land. So, and you can choose, there'll be like a license for that piece of land, and it might be commercial. So on that commercial piece of land, you might be able to build a blacksmith shop, or you might be able to build a forge, or you might be able to build a bio-growing dome that allows certain plants to be grown. So, and there's going to be a combat drug that increases your combat ability. So, yeah. Right, there's commercial land plot, and there's going to be business licenses. So those things are going to be available. So standard plots, there's going to be small predefined plots that are residential, and there's going to be some that are in the wilderness areas, and they're going to have different things available. So a small plot is going to be perfect for the solo player. And one of the things we're going to have in these small plots is a little underground bunker, because one of the problems with these games is being able to store things when you die is really a pain in the ass, and you don't want to not be able to run back somewhere and get some basic provisions that make the game a lot easier. If you have to start, so the game is really, really good fun for a while, starting from zero. But when you're trying to go to the next level of the game, if you die and you've got to go back to zero again, it becomes really draining, because if you've got nothing, that first couple of hours in the game is really hard. So what we want to do is allow people to buy a little residential block, like a little plot of land, and in that plot, on that plot, is an underground bunker, and it's literally like a doorway down into the ground. It'll be a secret hidden thing that you know where it is, and you've got a code pad hidden in a tree trunk or whatever. We'll work out how this works, and then you go into it, and you literally walk down, and there might be 2 boxes in there, and in those boxes you might have saved a bit of water and a bit of food, and maybe some bandages and some medicine. All right, now you're not going to die straight away, because your tickers, what we call tickers, the health, food, warmth, etc. You might have some basic clothing there, yeah, but you won't be able to store anything big. You won't be able to store anything that's going to be game winning. It'll just take the death scenario out of the game. All right, so every player will want to have one of those NFTs. All right, you want to have one of those plots. It's your personal plot, and you can put that wherever you want, and it's permanent. It survives wipes. All right, so if you've got that NFT in your wallet, when you log into the game, you'll be able to go and run to that plot and get your stuff. All right, and if you've got a couple of friends, you might put yours all close together so you can all meet there, and you've all got some stuff there. All right, there's going to be resource-rich plots. So these are going to be plots that are defined by the resources it carries. So some are going to be very rich in iron ore. Some are going to, which is going to make steel. All right. So if there's things that need to be made out of steel, like the forge and the shell casing machine, are going to need to be made from steel. So someone who's going to make that machine is going to need to buy the steel to make it. All right. And these sort of machines are probably going to be owned by guilds, because they're going to be quite expensive to build. All right. And if you're a single player, you would approach a guild and ask them to make you things, and they'll charge you to make them. All right, so and there's going to be plots that are really good for growing the combat drug, and there's going to be plots that aren't very good for growing the combat drug. So there's going to be plots that are really good for growing wheat. So there's going to be bakers, and someone's going to make food and that sort of stuff. So yeah. All right, there's going to be business zoning plots. All right, so business zoning plots are areas that allow certain types of businesses to operate in them. So if you are making concrete, for example, that's not going to be allowed to be in a residential area. So if you want to make concrete, if you want to reinforce your buildings with concrete reinforcing, then you're going to need to have a concrete plot somewhere on the map, and you have to go there and arc up all the equipment and etc. All right. And there's going to be fortress plots, or territory claims for fortress plots. So there will be certain points on the map. All right, so there might be a mountain range here, and you might be able to build a fortress up here. All right, and there might be one over here, and there might be one over here. And you might even want one down here next to the oil rig. So the oil rig is somewhere where you sell the combat drug. There's only one place on the whole map you sell the combat drug, and there's going to be an oil rig out here in the ocean. And the only way to get to this will be by boat or by helicopter. And actually, there is actually a pet you can fly as well. So you can have a pet that flies. But you have to capture that pet and train it. And it's sort of like anyway, it's a pterodactyl that they invented in the science lab up here. They used DNA and resurrected a pterodactyl, but you can ride it. It's really cool. Actually, let me find that just to show you what that looks like. Right, this is the pterodactyl that you'll be able to, I think I'm saying that correctly, if that's the the old flying. So doggos will be able to actually capture, like capture and breed. And you'll be able to fly these. I'm just trying to find the other, there's another one somewhere. So this is going to be one of the things that you might specialize in is breeding, and like you there's going to be a saddle that's got to be mounted on the pterodactyl. So you're going to have to buy the saddle. You're going to have to breed. These will be hard to breed, and so they won't be available early game. And even if you have an NFT for one of these, if you've actually found one, they're very rare. But if you find one of these, they're going to take a long time to get in. Like in the 30-day process, these won't be available until probably the day 15 onwards. So, but that might be your specialty, is you breed these and have them ready for people to buy off you during the game. So they're going to be so cool, and they're going to be trained. They'll be able to attack. You'll be able to train them to attack, and they're pretty robust. They'll take some gunfire and stuff and not die. The other form of transport we've got horses. There's going to be some really big horses, so Clydesdales, that have been DNA modified, very resilient, really, really good for covering large distances. And the final one is being able to get one of the panthers, modified panthers. So again, the science lab in the North Island manufactured all these. They were experimenting with these prehistoric animals that they were raising. And of course, there's been some horrors that have come as well. So coming back to the territory, so the fortresses means that your guild can own a fortress plot, right? There's two levels to this. There's the investor level, where investors will be able to purchase these blocks, and every building in the game will be broken down. So like the skyscrapers in the cities, you'll be able to buy floors of those skyscrapers. So if the skyscraper is divided into individual units, so they've got individual apartments, you'll be able to buy individual apartments. So these have to be allocated to a server, and the finer points of this will be worked out before they're sold. We will not be selling these before this whole system is fully concrete. But the idea of this video is just to give you an idea of where we're going and what we're doing. So let me talk about the investor level. So the investor level is, we're going to make a game within a game. As an investor, you're going to be able to say, right, well, I think there's going to be several really key parts. I think that moving up through here, through this part of the map, is going to be really contested. And so I want to control as much land as I can here. And there might be a pass through here that everyone has to come through. So the guild that controls that pass, if they can have a fortress here, they might have more influence on the game. And if that's the case, that piece of land would be very valuable. So I'm going to try and own the piece of land that the guild wants to rent off me. And that's one of the things we're going to do to stop guilds controlling that piece of land all the time. On day 1 of the 30-day cycle, that is called auction day. And every piece on the map comes up for auction. So the investors own the NFTs, and they now have their NFTs go up. They list them basically for sale, and it's for sale for 30 days. And the guilds and individual players can bid on everything on the map. And so part of the day 1 is for your guild to get together and decide what is going to make the game easier for you to actually get through the month. So you might say, I want to control this pass. You might say, I want a farm down here. We want to control a farm down here. And by controlling that farm, when your guild members respawn here, they can run straight to the farm, and the farm's got water, it's got food, it's got a place to store some clothing, and so you might want to control a farm. So there's going to be a Dutch auction. So a Dutch auction works backwards, and it starts at like 1 million gold, and it ticks down. And so you place your bids prior to day one on what you think you want to pay for certain things. So if this pass is deemed as the most prominent pass, the big guilds might be bidding on that. All right, they might be bidding a million gold, and these numbers just made up. I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but and you'll have currency. The guild will have currency that they've collected over the last patch. All right, or you can buy it off the marketplace, and you will be able to bid on this pass. Now, this pass won't be the only way through. You'll be able to come over here and go a different way and go up around here through this military base and go. But this pass might be the quickest way through. So if a guild controls it, then you might have to pay them a safety feature. They might charge you a rite of passage to go through safely, or you might have to go a different way. So, but there's going to be different things you can do. But are you going to need a blacksmith shop? Are you going to need a... So that's what the auction day is all about, is that you're going to be able to bid on things, and the investor who bought or owns the NFT will get paid real money for it. So every month. And it might only be like $10 or $100, or it might be $1,000. Who knows? It depends on what's going to happen with the games. So it's certainly an interesting part of the game, and it's going to be really dynamic on how it actually comes out at the end. And what it does for the game mostly is it changes the way that the game operates on a fundamental level. You're going to be able to play in the world without being involved with any of the NFTs. You'll be able to move around the world and go to trading posts, but and buy and sell things without using NFTs. But the idea is that there'll be another element of the game that is, we'll say, highlighted or optimized by the NFTs. They'll give you a slight advantage, and so controlling several of them will give your guild a chance of being dominant for this cycle. And the best thing is it wipes at the end of 30 days and it all starts again. So other guilds can learn from what their opposition did, and they might say, gosh, what they did there was really good. Let's bid higher for that, and let's get that this time. So we can control that. And you might decide that being next to this village, being here, and got a military base here, you're next to this village, it's close to the oil rig, that's a real strategic advantage. It's very hard to know what's going to change every cycle. And, the guilds battling each other out, really good fun. All right, so yeah, it's going to be great. On the auction day, all right, the landlord, so the owner of the NFT, sets the rental price in gold for the Dutch auction. All right, so he says, this is what I want to rent it for. And then the Dutch auction happens, and if no one bids on it, then it doesn't get used. It's open for anyone to claim, and there'll be a claiming post on the land. So if you turn up to this pass, for example, and nobody has claimed it, so no one actually won the auction, you'll be able to start a claim, and that will be a claiming post, and you've got to defend it and hold it for a certain amount of time. And other people might attack you to try and take it off you, and then they will start the claim again, and it might be a 24-hour claim. You have to hold that pass for 24 hours to actually claim it. So yeah, anyway, we'll work that out as it goes. It's going to be pretty exciting. All right, to give you a really clear idea about what's going to happen here, on day one of the 30-day cycle, there is a server wipe. So the previous month, whatever happened in the previous 30 days, nothing is kept on the map. The whole map wipes clean. all buildings are gone. Now, when I say all buildings are gone, the buildings of the world are still there, but any buildings that you built as a guild or as a single player are gone. Now, the only things that are permanent are the game buildings and any NFTs you own that give you a permanent bunker. So there will be little hidden bunkers that you can go down into. So hour zero, there's a wipe, all right? The server resets, all structures are gone, all man-made structures are gone, or guild-made structures are gone. And now we enter the first day, which is strategy planning day. All right, so your guild comes together. So if you're a single player, you can go onto the world if you want and run around, but you won't be able to do anything other than just enjoy the game, kill some zombies, whatever. But this is a planning day. There'll be a notice on the actual there's a notice board section on the map, and it will be flashing saying this is planning day. Auction starts in. There'll be a countdown on the auction. All right. And then in that 24-hour day, that's when the auction actually starts. Then the major sites will be auctioned off, and then the map will go live and the actual game will start. And that is what we call the land rush stage, where people rush out to claim the pieces that aren't actually auctioned off. So once the auction actually concludes, all the winners will know what they control. And so now your guild can plan, right, we won this, we won that, we won this. We didn't get the pass. Okay, we missed out on the pass, but we did get the iron ore things. Right, so let's now, I think we need to rush to try and claim the land next to the iron ore. So this is a strategy part of the game where the guild's working together to actually get out and control that piece of land. All right, and so then the cycle starts. So day 2 to 30. So day 2 to about day 6 is going to be resource gathering. All right, and then day 6 to day 10 is about base building. You'll be building a base because you need to be able to store things. The little bunkers you have in the ground are nothing more than storing food and water and a few bits of clothing maybe. But you need a bigger base. If you want to store guns and you want to store large amounts of food, if you want to grow drugs, the combat drug, if you want to grow that and be able to sell it to the drug lord to get extra money, which money allows you to buy guns, buy weapons, buy clothing, buy armor, buy bullets, buy food, whatever you need. So you're going to need money, and you're going to need a way to make money. And so you're either going to be a food grower, you might run farms, you might collect guns. So one of the things I used to like doing is going out and just finding good guns. So you go out to the high combat zones and you stealth around and you look for guns that spawn on the ground, and you take and run them back. And if it's a high, very expensive military gun, there'll be a certain military seller you can go to, and he will pay you a lot of money for that gun. And so that's how you might make your money, is collecting guns. And then you sell them on the marketplace. And then that means that someone who's got a lot of money can go to the marketplace and actually buy it. So, yeah. So in a nutshell, that is the NFT system. That's what we're going to build out with the Dogs of War. It's a 30-day cycle. Day 1 is an auction day. There's going to be landowners that own particular parts of land and buildings and licenses, and they will go up for auction. And you will have a Dutch auction where you bid and you allocate the money you have available at the beginning of the cycle to allocate what you can. The guild will then strategize on what they've won in the auction, what they have. Things that weren't won in the auction are available for claim in the actual world on the day, and those claims can be made. And if you're a landowner and it wasn't won at auction, when someone claims it, there'll be a base price attached to that claim. So so as a landowner, you will actually get paid something for someone using that during the 30 days. So, and it might only be $5, but again, it's your NFT making a passive income for you on a long period of time. So, and if you've got say a blacksmith shop, and you buy 10 of them, and you allocate those 10 to 10 different servers, then that could be each one of those blacksmith shops might earn you money this month. So it's good passive income. So, okay, so that's NFTs and what we're doing with Dogs of War. I'm the old bull. Go for it, guys. It's going to be a really exciting time over the next couple of months. Hang in there. Thanks for being part of Playable Games. We'll talk to you soon. Old bull out.